Welcome back. I hope you had a good week. So today, I'm going to go through a full thing. As requested from the previous video, I'm just gonna... Oh, where'd that come from? Go through a whole drawing real quick, just to show you how to put all of these things...
Following the end of the war to end all wars and the sobering horrors left in its wake, society was ready and eager to look to a bright future. Yes, the third industrial revolution was in full swing, spearheaded by visual and musical content creators, as the roaring 20s turned the volume to 11. Across the globe, people of all nations embraced a carefree lifestyle of live, laugh, love. Yes, electricity and automobiles became all the rage, as travel and leisure activities were more available than ever to the average citizen. The amazing new art form born out of this era would change the world, so that one day artists would never have to leave their homes.
Action! Like a 4-shot espresso, like one I've had today. No, prolonged usage of caffeine keeps sleep. Last week, so far we've covered some of the basic tools, we've covered some of the basic techniques to bring your art game to the next level, or to start out. Either way, doesn't matter, it's gonna help you out if you practice them. I use them all the time, so there. Really? So today, I'm going to go through a full thing. As requested from the previous video, I'm just going to go through a whole drawing real quick, just to show you how to put all of these things into practice on the paper. So what I'm going to do is I got my sketch pad here. You can leave it in the sketch pad or not, but if you want to do a professional piece where you're going to be selling it, or commissioned where you're going to be giving it away, or used to display and it's not just going to stay in your sketchbook, there's a couple things that I want to show you that are going to help out. First off, one of the things that's going to really help you out to get smooth, clean, detailed drawings, one of the things you can do, they actually have boards that you can buy, the giant clipboards you can get for illustration. It's going to give you a nice, clean, smooth surface without any bumps. It's not going to ruin the back or bottom of your paper. It's not going to give you humps where you're going to get dark or light spots, and it's not going to damage your paper at all when you're drawing. So you really want to try to get something like that. I like a glass cutting board. It's great because, well, obviously it's glass smooth, and so it's not going to give you any problems. Plus, one of the other benefits of it is you can use it to tape your artwork onto it. Help keep it from moving, to help locate it.
From moving to help locate it. Make sure it's flat. Flat. Get some of the corners, make sure it's flat.
Next, set up your grid. One of the things I like to do so that it looks more professional, it looks more fine art, and it's a little more aesthetically pleasing to put a border on that, all right? So what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna take my trusty ruler, and I'm going to measure out 1-inch increments, because that is how I have set up my grid. I'm going to take my HB pencil. It's a mechanical pencil used for illustration. You can pick them up online. Really, really awesome. I've got a lot of stuff to do. If you want to have a high-end professional illustration, you're going to want to take your time and really, really, really be careful about how you're doing these hash marks. If you do them too heavily, if you push too hard into the paper when you do it, you're gonna leave indents, you're gonna leave marks, and it's gonna show up in your final piece, and it's not gonna look professional. And you want professional. Should not have had that second cup. You got that lined out, you got that all done up, you got that ready to go, yeah? Next step's pretty simple, you draw your lines. But what you wanna do is you don't wanna go all the way to the edges of the paper. I'll show you why. Also do your best not to touch the paper with your bare hands as much as possible. Your hands have oils in them, and they will transfer to the paper and can cause problems. Next, get yourself some painter's tape, some of the green stuff, the froggy stuff, or whatever it is. I don't know, what brand is this? And you're gonna wanna put it right up along your border line. What we're doing is we're protecting the paper from any foreign matter from your media. We're preventing it from getting into any fibers so that we don't have to erase it later. It's gonna give you a really pristine, clean look.
Fun fact, prolonged consumption of coffee can cause chronic...
It can change your sleep schedule so you don't get as much sleep every single night, which can be beneficial if you have a lot of things to do. Focus. It's not a perfect grid, but it'll do. Equal amount of grids on the photo, reference photo. You can either print them off and draw the grid on it that way, or you can go and download what's called the grid, I think it's just called. Get it? Instead of using a pencil first to do my outlines, instead of using a blending style, instead of using one of these, instead of using a pencil, what I like to do is use this. Now, what is this, you ask? With my mechanical pencils, one of the benefits I have is I also have a mechanical pencil sharpener. What's great about it is that all the little shavings inside of it, while they are mixed, that means I'm getting a mix of every single shade of pencil I own inside of this blend. So it works really, really good to use for blending. Next, I'm gonna take my paintbrush and I'm gonna do basic shapes. The basic medium shadow is gonna be in between your light and heavy areas. Another technique would be to use a very light shade pencil to do your outline drawing, but you don't have to do that. This is a little bit quicker method. This is what I prefer to do, or what I enjoy doing, because it's fun. You get a little more artistic with it. You're not so locked into being ultra realism. I'm gonna get a piece of paper so that way I'm not smudging things. You can also use the artist model. I'm going to just do my basic shapes. One of the design aspects I'm going to incorporate into today's drawing is going to be some Art Deco.
Now that's what I call a square shooting guy. All say is.
Now, on a side note,
Art Deco was inspired by a mixture between the ancient Egyptian art style as well as ancient Aztec style. The reason being is because around the turn of the century, tomb robbing, it became a fad. Like rich noblemen in Britain and other places, they dig up stuff and steal it. Made a lot of money. Found stuff like Tutankhamun's tomb, and people actually ground up and ate mummies. Can you believe that? Look it up. Egyptology. One of the benefits you had with the turn of the century is you had the modern industrial revolution happening. Because of this, people were able to travel, they were able to go places. It still cost a ton of money, but rich people could afford it. And so they went to places and they dug stuff up. And then they stole it. And then they sold it. And they made even more money. Art Deco is kind of a mix between the ancient world and the modern world. So they incorporated different things from the styles of the ancient Egyptians, the ancient Aztecs, and other ancient cultures, and they tried to kind of reinvigorate it into the modern mechanized industrial era that had started such a boom. Art Deco really got its start at the, what was it called? You know? Aww. Art Deco was announced to the world in the 1925 Exposition Internationale des Arts Justice Modernis in Paris. Oui, oui, ha! It wasn't a new movement by any means, but it had been going on for about a decade. But this is where it really made a splash. The exposition was a world-style fair, The exposition was a World's Fair style spectacle that it lasted about 6 months and covered about 57 acres. It was really, really big. So Art Deco took off, and we got things like this. And then we got things like this. Art Deco was incorporated into buildings, it was incorporated into artwork, into posters, into movies, it was everywhere. It was a huge, huge, huge art movement, and it kind of encapsulated, especially the roaring 20s, which I think is relevant because we're, kind of in the 2020s, and, we're also witnessing a new revolution, different kind of revolution. They call it a tech revolution. Elon Musk wants to put a chip in your brain. He wants you to meld your consciousness with AI. There are movies that warn about that kind of thing.
I am the Borg.
Just saying. Dip it in here, and I'll kind of work it into the brush. You want to pick a reference point to start. The correct way to do it is to start in the upper left-hand corner, so that way as you work downwards on your drawing, it's going to keep you from, you're going to stay away from that area so you don't smudge stuff. So you don't smudge stuff you don't want to smudge. Seriously, get. This is a great way to do large coverage area shadows, so that way you're not constantly scraping your pencil all over the place trying to get all that graphite into the paper, and you're just like, I wish there was a better way to get large coverage areas covered. Well, this is the way. This is how you do it. You use a brush. You use a brush and you use that ground up pencil pigment. If you thought that all I was going to show you was that brush technique, you got another thing coming. Next, what I'm going to do is I'm going to take a 6B pencil, which is one of the darkest you can have. I think it goes to like 8. You just go straight for the boldest, darkest shades in your drawing. And then as you move out from those spots, you go to lighter and lighter, and you just barely skim it across it to do barely any coverage, as you can see I'm doing here. And then when you go back over with your brush to blend things, or your blending stub, then it's going to just give you an automatic shade right off the bat. It's a little less work, and it gives it a cool effect, and you can always go back over and add extra darkness to the areas that you blended or put on before, as you can see I did there. And then another thing you can do, like I said before, with your erasers, you can go back in once you've done this, where everything still looks a little blurry, and you can go in and just remove, like I'm doing here, you just remove those lighter areas to give you those really bright highlight spots. I even did that with the hair just because I enjoy that. You can do nice light flashes. That works really well with your eraser for doing that. Now here what I'm doing is I'm putting on the final outline of the borders of my edge. That way it's going to be nice, pristine, and bold. It's going to get the final, what would you call it? A finality to the border. There's interesting concepts surrounding borders in art, but I don't want to get into that because I'm not really a philosopher. All right, the last thing to do is to pull off the tape. Be careful. Be very careful when you do this. See how I had the edge right there, pulled up some of the paper? You can get away with that, but I would caution you to be very careful when you're pulling off your tape to watch for that, and if it starts doing it, pull in a direction to keep it from continuing to rip your paper apart. Otherwise, it will rip the paper, trust me. Also, one of the things you should probably consider, try not to touch the paper with your hands, especially if you just finished working on the piece and your hands are dirty. Grab a piece of tape or a cloth, just something. Do not touch the piece of paper with your hand and smudge that nice, beautiful, pristine border. All right, the only thing I got left is signature and varnish. I'll show you. I'll just show you now. You want varnish. Do not forget. Do not forget. Spray that fixer. It's actually fixer, not varnish. It's a fixidant. A fixer, fixidant. I can never remember the name. Anyway, there's your finished piece with the final signature on it. I did this piece in a few hours while recording, while doing all this extra stuff, while doing the video today. And there you go. Something else you can use for highlights that works really well is a Sharpie white pen marker. I hope you've enjoyed today's episode, and I hope that you will use these techniques, or at least try them out, and practice them and see if it doesn't help what you do. Incorporate some of these techniques into what you are doing in your artwork, whatever level you are at, and I hope you're inspired to do something new and to check out different art styles, whether they're ancient or whether they're modern. You should look into them because art history is important. Art is important.
So I'll see
you later. So I'll see you next time, neighbor. Do something kind for someone. Tell those you love that you love them. None of us knows how long we're going to be here, or how long someone else is going to be here. So cherish the time you have. And remember, rock bottom is the best place to start building from. If you enjoyed this content, please consider donating or purchasing some of my work. You can find that through the link in the description box.
Now that's what I call a square shooting guy. All say is, what do you say we give a 3 rousing